They threw you into the fire, not to forge you, but to finish you. They whispered your name like it was already a memory dot. They watched your fall like it was entertainment. They counted your scars before they even healed and called it your ending. But what they didn't understand, what they could never understand, is that you were never made to stay broken. You were made to burn and rise. They thought pain would silence you. They thought betrayal would shatter your spirit. They believed loneliness would hollow you out until there was nothing left but echoes. Did they really think you would collapse under the weight of it all? They expected tears to drown you. They expected your voice to tremble forever. They expected you to shrink, to disappear, to become a shadow of who you once were. Because in their minds, pain only destroys. But they didn't see what was happening beneath the surface. While they celebrated your suffering, you were studying it. While they mocked your silence, you were mastering it. While they assumed you were breaking, you were rebuilding quietly, patiently, powerfully, because what they called your downfall was actually your awakening. You remember those nights, don't you? The ones where the world felt unbearably heavy, where silence screamed louder than any noise, where your thoughts turned into storms, crashing against your chest again and again. You sat there, in the dark, questioning everything. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Will this pain ever end? And for a moment, just a moment, you almost believed them. You almost believed that this was your limit. But something inside you refused to die. Something ancient, something uncheckable. Quiet voice, barely audible whispering. Asterisk, not yet. Asterisk, and that whisper became your anchor. Pain became your teacher. Every betrayal taught you who not to trust. Every loss showed you what truly mattered. Every tear carried a lesson. You couldn't have learned any other way. You stopped running from the fire and started walking through it. You let it burn away the illusions, the fake connections, the expectations that were never yours to carry. You began to see clearly. Not everything was meant to stay. Not everyone was meant to understand you. Not every one was meant to break you. Some wounds were meant to wake you up. And slowly, you changed. Not in a loud, dramatic way. No applause. No announcements. Just quiet evolution. You became more aware. More grounded. More dangerous. Because now you understood something they didn't. You don't need comfort to grow. You need truth. And truth doesn't always come wrapped in kindness. Sometimes it comes as loss. Sometimes as betrayal. Sometimes as complete and utter collapse. But you didn't collapse, did you? You transformed. And that's when they started to notice. At first, it confused them. Why weren't you reacting anymore? Why weren't you chasing, begging, proving? Why did your silence feel louder than their noise? They looked at you, really looked at you, and something felt different. The same person, but not the same energy. The same face, but not the same soul, because the version of you they once controlled no longer existed. Did they really think you'd stay broken? Did they believe you'd carry their damage forever? That you'd wear their betrayal like a permanent identity? No. You took everything they gave you, the pain, the rejection, the chaos, and you turned it into power. You turned confusion into clarity. You turned heartbreak into discipline. You turned loneliness into independence. And suddenly, you didn't need them anymore. That's when fear crept into their hearts, because your growth exposed their stagnation. While you were rebuilding your life, they were still repeating the same patterns. While you were healing, they were still hurting others. While you were evolving, they were stuck, and nothing terrifies people more than someone they underestimated. Becoming unstoppable, you became calm in chaos. Storms didn't shake you anymore. They strengthened you. You walked through fire like it was familiar territory, because it was. You had already survived worse. You had already faced your darkest fears and lived to tell the story. So what could they possibly do to you now? Nothing. And here's the truth they'll never admit. They missed the version of you that tolerated less respect. They missed the version of you that stayed silent. They missed the version of you that didn't know their worth. But that version of you is gone. Gone with the pain that once defined you. Gone with the doubts that once controlled you. Gone with the need for their approval. Because now, you approve of yourself. You've become something rare. A person who has seen darkness and still chooses light. A person who has been broken and still chooses to build. A person who has been hurt and still refuses to become cruel. That's power, not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind. The kind that doesn't need validation, not the kind that doesn't need revenge, because your peace is your victory. And oh, how powerful that peace is. It's not fragile. It's not temporary. It's earned. Forged in sleepless nights. Through silent battles. Strengthened by every moment you chose growth over destruction. You didn't just survive the pain. You understood it. You studied it. You absorbed it. You transformed it. You turned wounds into wisdom. Look at you now, standing taller, thinking clearer, feeling deeper, but not weaker. You don't chase anymore. You attract. You don't beg anymore. You choose. You don't fear endings anymore. You welcome them, because every ending you facetas led you here. Stronger, wiser, unbreakable. And they're still watching, trying to understand how you did it, trying to figure out when everything changed, but they'll never fully grasp it, because they didn't walk through your fire. They didn't feel your pain. They didn't fight your battles. Didn't become you. You see, transformation isn't visible at first. It doesn't announce itself. That happens in silence. In solitude. In moments no one else sees. It happens when you choose discipline over distraction. Growth over comfort. Truth over illusion. It happens when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That's when everything shifts. And once it shifts, there's no going back. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you've learned. You can't return to the version of yourself that didn't know their power, because now you do. You are no longer defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you rose from it. Every scar you carry is proof of your resilience. That every lesson you learn it is a weapon in your arsenal. Every moment you endure it is a step toward your greatness. So stand there, in your truth, not as a victim of your past, but as the author of your future. Let them remember you as the one who didn't break. Let them remember you as the one who turned pain into purpose. Let them remember you as the one who rose, because you didn't just survive. You transformed. You didn't just endure. Evolved. You didn't just heal. You became something they could never destroy. And now, you walk forward differently. With intention. With clarity. With power. Not seeking approval. Not chasing validation. Not fearing rejection. Because you already know who you are. And that is something they can never take from you. So when the world tests you again, and it will remember this, you've already faced the fire. You've already survived the storm. You've already turned your wounds into wisdom. And there is nothing more dangerous than a person who has nothing left to prove and nothing left to fear. This is your power. This is your story. This is your rise. And it's only just beginning. Cut. 3AUDIO. Take a slow breath. Not because something is wrong, but because something inside you has been waiting to be heard. And right now, this message didn't reach you by accident. There is a reason you are here at this exact moment, reading these words, feeling that quiet pull inside your chest that you can't fully explain. It's not curiosity. It's recognition. Something in you already knows this is not just another message. And for a moment, you don't have to search, analyze, or figure anything out. Just be here, because what you've been carrying is already understood here. There was a time when you started noticing something subtle, not loud. Not obvious, just a shift. The way conversations didn't feel the same anymore. The way responses came slower, shorter, colder. Or maybe not cold, just different. And the strange part is, nothing was clearly wrong. There were no final words, no clear ending, no moment you could point at and say, this is where it changed. So you stayed in that in-between space, where your mind kept asking questions your heart couldn't answer. Did I misunderstand something? Did I expect too much? Did I become too much? But deep inside, something quieter was happening. A knowing, not based on evidence, but feeling that something was no longer flowing the way it used to. And still, you stayed. Because when your heart connects, it doesn't leave just because clarity is missing. It waits. It hopes. It tries to understand silence, even when silence gives nothing back. There is something your intuition noticed long before your mind accepted it. It wasn't about your worth. It was never about you being too much or not enough. It was about emotional capacity. Some people don't leave because of lack of feeling. They step back because they cannot hold what they started to feel. Not because it was wrong, but because it was real. And real emotions require presence, responsibility,